What's up, guys? Welcome back to Newswave. So yesterday, Nintendo made what some people were looking at to be a strange announcement, and I figured we would talk about it here today because it's been a while since we've talked about Metroid Prime 4. Also, we are going to be going over a report from Microsoft pointing towards them working on a surprising game as well as a new mode for Halo Infinite that's going to be spurring quite a bit of controversy online. And we're also going to be talking about NFTs. I know you've probably heard a lot about them, but Atari thought, you know what? Let's mix things up here. Let's bring in the loot boxes. Guys, if you enjoy these videos, make sure that like button helps out a ton. And if you're new here to the Spawnwave channel, make sure you subscribe down below and ring that notification bell so you can keep up to date with all the uploads here on the channel. And we're going to start today with Xbox Live Games with Gold for the month of February. Microsoft put out a video and a screenshot. You can see the games here. We'll start with Broken Sword 5, The Serpent's Curse. That's available February 1st to the 28th. Aerial Knights Never Yield. That's available February 16th to March 15th. Hydrophobia. That's February 1st to the 15th. Band of Bugs. That's available February 16th to the 28th. There's really no way to dress this up. That's a pretty bad month overall. I mean, we just talked about PlayStation Plus being disappointing, but at least that had like some larger games, at least something you could headline with, even UFC, right? Like you could put that up there, but like, what's the big title here? Hydrophobia? To me, I'm looking at this, I'm saying, look, Microsoft clearly doesn't care that much about games with gold. Their primary focus is on Game Pass Ultimate. So at this point, I'm just wondering how long until Xbox Live Gold just goes away. I think that internal number Microsoft's looking to hit is 50 to 60 million Game Pass Ultimate subscribers. They have 25 million, so they still have a ways to go, but maybe by the end of the year, they can kind of cycle out Xbox Live Gold and games with gold, because clearly, they mostly just want to focus on Game Pass Ultimate. But hey, they're free games, so I guess you can go in there and claim them. Who knows, maybe someday you'll want to check out Band of Bugs. Also, we had a bit of a surprising reveal yesterday. Do you remember Star Wars 1313? It was a pretty cool game that was shown off. It sort of looked like a Star Wars Uncharted style game, and unfortunately, it was canceled and then just basically thrown out when Disney bought out LucasArts and Star Wars and all of this. Well, out of nowhere, new footage appeared online yesterday. You can see it here. This was posted up by The Vault. I'll link to this down below in the sources if you want to look at the entire video, but it shows off Boba Fett running and trying to catch an enemy, and you end up going across all these buildings, some pretty cool set pieces, again, mimicking what we had seen before in the original video for the game. And what's funny is this looks like it's like early footage, so it's missing textures and all of this, but it's still really cool to see what this game could have been and that there's more footage out there. People were describing it as you starting off as like just without armor, just a basic bounty hunter, and then you build your way up to be Boba Fett essentially. So it sounds like it would have been a cool concept to play through, and unfortunately it just didn't make it out from that acquisition when Disney stepped in and picked up Star Wars. Oh, and we do have a new snowboarding game coming up here pretty soon called Shredders. We had heard it was supposed to release at the end of 2021, but it got delayed out. Now it looks like the release date may have appeared online a bit early. This will also be heading into Game Pass day one. We can see this posted up by The Loadout, where they say it is now due to be released on March 17th, 2022, according to the United Kingdom Microsoft Store. We've seen these different storefronts accidentally post release dates many times now, and when asked online, the developers were pretty coy about it. They're basically like, well, maybe. So it does appear, at least right now, second half of March, we could be looking forward to Shredders. And I like the idea of a new snowboarding game. It's supposed to be the spiritual successor to Amped. If you remember playing that on the original Xbox, kind of a simulation with some arcadey gameplay thrown in there. So I'm looking forward to it. Again, it's going to go on Game Pass day one. So it is that kind of that situation of, well, just go ahead and press download and try it out. And guys, with some of the quick news out of the way, let's get into the bigger stuff. Let's start right away with Metroid Prime 4. You know, it's been 3 years since they announced that that game was going to have its development completely restarted. That was a video that was posted up January 25th, 2019. Here we are now in 2022, hoping to see something about the game, but a part that always gets posted up and seems to spur a lot of conversation is whenever Retro Studios is looking for new developers to work on some of their projects. And I mean, they do post up a picture of like Samus Aran whenever they do this. You can see this tweet that was put up by Retro Studios. We're looking for a tools engineer and a technology engineer to join us on our journey to develop Metroid Prime 4. And this went basically viral online. I mean, it's a job listing, right, for a couple of positions there, but that started getting people talking about the progress of Metroid Prime 4. I mean, if you look at the careers at Retro Studios, their job openings, there are always job openings for Retro Studios, and they're working on other projects at the same time. Although, I think what really got people is they specifically mention developing Metroid Prime 4 here. So you see tools engineer, see technology engineer, those sound like pretty serious jobs, but with these different studios, they have a lot of employees and different contractors. Some of those contracts will end and they'll start up new ones, or people will just leave and cycle in and out, and you have to fill those positions. And I know for a lot of people, the job listings is like the one bit of news technically we get around the game. I just don't think you can really try to draw out the roadmap or the progress for any game just around job listings like these. They could even be bringing in extra people to help get some of the things done that they are working towards a certain deadline. Like maybe Metroid Prime 4 is slated to be shown at some point in 2022 because they have a 2023 release in mind. Really, if you think about it then, I had originally said I think this is going to be a 4-year cycle from when they announced the entire reboot of development at the beginning of 2019, which would, place it sometime at the end of 2020 or 2023 then. That's kind of where I was thinking Metroid Prime 4 would come out. And the idea is Nintendo tried. Like, there was a lot of talks about them developing it internally with help from Bandai Namco. And Nintendo they don't do a lot of first-person action shooter adventure style games, really. I mean, that's the one thing I would like to see Nintendo really take a shot at is a first-person shooter. They just don't really have a lot of experience with it. Retro Studios clearly does. And that was one of the things that was very strange to me is they didn't just go with Retro Studios right away. They opted to try to do it themselves. Maybe they want to take up the challenge and it just didn't work out, and then eventually went to Retro Studios. So there are other positions that are listed here. Retro Studios works on a couple of games and will even run support all at the same time. This one specifically says Metroid Prime 4, but they are slated to have another game get revealed this year. It sounds like it's going to be that Metroid Prime Remaster remake. So at least sometime in 2022, we're going to see Retro Studios reemerge with a game, maybe two. Maybe they're going to show Metroid Prime Remaster and then they show up to give us a look at Metroid Prime 4 to give us an idea as to where they are with it. Next up, let's talk about NFTs and apparently loot boxes now. This is from Atari, and I gotta say, I'm surprised that Atari beat Ubisoft and EA to loot boxes with NFTs. Just incredible stuff there. But we can see this from VGC, where they say Atari is celebrating its 50th anniversary by combining NFTs with loot boxes. The company is teaming up with Republic Realm, one of the most active developers of the metaverse and NFT ecosystem, to sell off a collection that is being dubbed GFTs. Oh, they're already rebranding NFTs. There you go. That's the thing I said they would probably have to do. One of these companies would try to just rebrand it in some capacity. I still think GFTs are a little too close. Like, they have to just change that name completely if you're EA or some other big company wants to just kind of just get into NFTs without actively saying, hey, we're in NFTs. The collection is described as containing its giftable NFTs, which initially appear as gift-wrapped boxes with no indication as to what's inside, which Atari says makes them ideal for gifting to others. On a specific date, the NFT will then unwrap to show various different NFTs based on titles from Atari's 50-year history. Technically, this is not new to NFTs. This is something that happens quite a bit, actually, where NFTs will be sold, this collection of them. You can buy them, and it's just like randomly assorted NFTs that will open later on. So Atari is basically trying to rebrand this GFTs and bring it more to like gaming mainstream, I guess. Again, it's strange that it's Atari that's doing this before EA or Ubisoft, but we just talked about how much money Konami made from, well, nothing. Like, it's hundreds of thousands of dollars. So you're going to see more and more companies just take a shot at it. I don't really know how well this is going to do for Atari. I guess we'll find out. But there we have it now. Loot boxes and NFTs combined. Where else can this whole NFT ride take us? I guess we'll see when some of these other bigger companies like EA take a shot. Next up, let's talk about Microsoft and a couple of projects that they have in the works, according to Jeff Grubb and now Jez Corden over at Windows Central. We can see this posted up. It does say VentureBeat's Jeff Grubb revealed a new Monster Hunter-like game for Xbox on his Grub Snacks show. Make sure you check out Jeff Grubb there on his Grub Snacks show. But he goes on to say, I can confirm via our own separate sources that this game is indeed real and is currently codenamed Project Suerte. Suerte is reportedly a Monster Hunter-inspired game, implying big monster battles with multiplayer gameplay. The game is in development by Certain Affinity, which is known for primarily as a support studio on titles like Halo and Call of Duty. And yeah, they've been running support for these different games for a while. They've worked with 343 on things like Halo 4 and all this, but the idea of Microsoft making a Monster Hunter-like game for Game Pass does make me think that maybe Microsoft is looking around and is thinking, well, we can either spend the money to get the next Monster Hunter World, which, like, Capcom's working on that. They're gonna bring out Monster Hunter World 2. It's obvious. Microsoft could say, well, we could spend millions and millions of dollars getting that into Game Pass day one, and yeah, it would probably boost subscriptions, but it would eventually leave Game Pass. Like, it's not in there indefinitely. We see games cycle in and out from third parties all the time, but the games that stay there always are like indefinitely are first party titles, barring like ones that have licensing like Forza, where car manufacturers and stuff have certain contracts. But if it's an original game from Microsoft, doesn't have all those licensing deals, it'll just stay there. So Microsoft's thinking, well, we have our publishing label. Let's get a smaller independent studio like Certain Affinity and have them work with us to create a Monster Hunter-like game rather than get the actual Monster Hunter. I mean, yeah, it might be like generic brand Monster Hunter, but if it still has a similar feel, people might be interested enough from the Monster Hunter community to just try it and yeah, sign up for Game Pass. That's Microsoft's biggest thing, is just get you in the ecosystem and hope you forget about the subscription. Like how you do with Netflix. I mean, how many people sign up for Netflix and then just keep it for 8 months, realize they've had it for 8 months, and then go, oh, maybe I'll cancel it next month, and then you just keep it for another year until you repeat the process all over again. Now, there was one other piece of information in here around Halo Infinite that is going to bring up quite a bit of conversation and controversy if this ends up happening. We can see this, where he says, I've received some separate hints that Certain Affinity may also be working on a new game mode for Halo Infinite, which could be a take on the popular Battle Royale formula or something completely different entirely. I believe that there will be a Battle Royale in some way that comes to Halo Infinite. Could be years from now, but I do believe they will try it. It just may not look exactly like what we know Battle Royales to look like now. Could be just Halo's own take on it. Like, that's sort of what I'm thinking here. I mean, it's hard to ignore how successful that game type has been for all other games. And the reason it's controversial is because there are a lot of people in the Halo community who just don't want Battle Royale in Halo because it's an arena style shooter. But really, if it's just a separate mode that gets more people into the game itself and continues to build on it, that's fine. Like, I can still play the arena shooter part of Halo, and maybe I do want to check out Battle Royale. I don't like it going back to the arena shooter. I mean, let's be real, with Halo Infinite now and the current state it is with content, can we really be that picky with what they put into the game if it's like new maps or modes? Because they haven't really done a lot with Halo Infinite. Well, actually, they put cat ears in and, new cosmetics, so we're getting some stuff, I guess. Look, the next season is coming up in a couple of months, so here's hoping they're just saving all of that content for a massive blowout when that starts. Or, I don't know, maybe they'll give us dog ears or something. And in our last bit of news, let's talk about Capcom and how well they're doing now, because years and years ago, Capcom was not in a good spot. There were rumors that Microsoft was very close even to buying Capcom because of the dire financial situation that they were in. But now we're seeing headlines like this. It says Capcom revenue jumps 35% to $774 million, which that's very, very impressive for Capcom. Like I said, they weren't in a great spot years and years ago, but when they point to some big time performers, like things like Resident Evil Village, that's sold over 5 million copies. We know all about Monster Hunter Rise, that is pretty quickly approaching 10 million copies. We see Monster Hunter Stories 2, Wings of Ruin. That's crossed 1 million copies sold, and they even pointed out that Resident Evil 7 Biohazard, that was back in 2017, topped 10 million units sold. Also, I do want to point out that they went over their digital to physical split, and well, take a look. Their digital console and PC sales, because PC is basically all digital now with Steam and all of this, 367 million. Boxed games, 225 million. That's right. Even Capcom is seeing, just more people buying through digital storefronts as opposed to going out to Best Buy, Walmart, GameStop, or even ordering on Amazon for boxed copies. And I've said this before, you're going to start hearing this more and more from these different companies when it comes to their sales and earnings reports, that they are seeing more people buying digitally over physically. That is just kind of the path we're on right now, where potentially next generation, these systems just might not even have a disk drive in them. Either way, it's great to see Capcom in such a good position here financially, because that makes me hope that they will then take chances again with a franchise like Mega Man. That's right, we're going into Mega Man territory here immediately after talking about how well Monster Hunter is doing. It's not going to make the Monster Hunter money, but it's still great to have Capcom maybe try something in the Mega Man universe again. X9, Legends 3, a new battle network, just something. Or, oh, there we go. MVG with his prepare for disappointment. Yeah, most likely that won't happen. We'll get a new Street Fighter or something. We'll get Monster Hunter World 2. The big money makers for Monster Hunter, obviously, is what Capcom is looking towards right now. But hey, we can always dream. Tell you what, we'll come back here this time in January in 2023 and see if we got any kind of Mega Man announcement, or if we just get the MVG disappointment. And before we go to the comment of the day, we're taking a little poll that I posted up yesterday, where I asked, which Xbox subscription are you subscribed to? 52% said Game Pass Ultimate. We have 43% saying none, I'm not signed up for Game Pass or Gold, and then just 5% for Xbox Live Gold. You know, I am curious, like, there can't be that many people who are just signed up for Xbox Live Gold anymore. I feel like more and more people have just transitioned over to Game Pass Ultimate. It comes with Gold, and then of course all of those games are thrown in there. So games with Gold just makes less and less sense overall. I think Microsoft, if they see Xbox Live Gold continue to diminish overall, maybe they just get rid of it. And they're like, look, it's free to play online, but make sure you also take a look at our Game Pass Ultimate subscription, because all these first-party games from now Activision, Blizzard, and others are going to be going in there. So in the long run, you'll save money and get to try out more and more games. And obviously, Microsoft then setting the trend that games would be free to play online after they set the trend back in the early 2000s that it would be pay to play online would be a pretty interesting about face for them. And we'll finish up with the comment of the day as you're seeing here. This is from Mitchell saying, I'm going to the midnight release for Arceus tonight. The Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl had a big turnout, so I'm excited for it tonight. Wow, the midnight release feels like it's been kind of lost, especially recently. We used to have midnight releases, you see them all the time, and now you just don't. So it's cool to see that Legends Arceus had a midnight release last night, and that people were able to get the game at midnight physically. I feel like a lot of people just stay at home, they just download it, and they're just ready to go at midnight when it unlocks. But back in the day, some of those midnight releases were awesome. Like the Halo midnight releases were a really big deal. You'd have a ton of people come out for them. And then obviously system releases were really big. In fact, is that the last one I remember going to? Was it? It might have been the Xbox One X. I had to double check, but I feel like it was a system and not even really a game. But that's just kind of where we are now. Again, heading into that all digital space, you're not really going to need to have midnight releases for physical games anymore. Probably just systems. And ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it here for Newswave. If you enjoyed this video, guys, hit that like button, really helps out. If not, hit the dislike. Leave comments down below about everything we talked about here. Today was Halo Infinite with a Battle Royale mode. Would you like to see that one? Or what about Microsoft building a Monster Hunter-like game? And then Metroid Prime 4. When do you think this game is going to come out? Thanks, guys, for watching. Have a great weekend. I'll see you back here Monday morning, 8 a.m. Eastern Time for Newswave.